Welcome to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with Rebecca Hall Gruyter. In our program each week, we provide the tools, ideas, and encouragement to help you move ahead on your journey, becoming a more powerful and impactful woman in your own life. Now here's your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter.
Welcome, everyone. I hope that you're having an amazing week. I'm excited to have you connecting in with us here at the beginning of April. Here in the States, we have spring going on, so we've been talking about springing forward, and over the last couple months, how to keep that forward momentum going no matter what. Today, we're going to dig into the idea of what about when those challenges come, when the unexpected happens, when that one more thing you can't have happen happens. How do you continue to choose to bloom and shine, even when there's a storm, even when things come up that are an obstacle or stop you in your tracks for a moment? How do we discover our roots? How do we go deep and then keep going forward? That's what we're going to be talking about today. Because as much as we want everything to flow beautifully and with ease and keep moving forward in this powerful way, there are things that happen. It's not if, it's when, that can change our course, can become an obstacle, can become a challenge. So I think it's really important that we find a way to manage through that and with obstacles and challenges. And we have a great expert today that's going to help us look at this and maybe even change a little bit of how we're looking at obstacles and challenges so that you are empowered and equipped to keep moving forward, keep growing, keep bringing forward those things that matter most to you. Because life is not a solo journey. We have the rich and powerful opportunity to lean into each other and support each other on our journey. So I celebrate that you're here today, that you're leaning into our conversation. And I want you to know that that means there's something here for you today. And I want you to get everything that is available for you today. But the best way to do that is to be fully present. So I'm going to walk us through a process here in just a moment to help us become fully present so that you can receive everything that is here for you today. Those of you who are driving, please stay safe, both hands on the wheels, just inwardly tuning in. But those of you who are able to, I invite you to put both feet on the floor. Really feel it supporting you. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And see how big you can make your belly. A little bigger, and then out through your mouth, like through a straw. Keep breathing in that manner. And on your next breath, close your eyes. You're absolutely safe. Put one hand on your heart, one hand on your head, bringing you all in, mind, body, soul, and spirit. This type of breathing will not only bring you present, but it'll also lower your stress levels, your cortisol levels, so that you can receive. You are open to have more poured into you. So take another beautiful oxygen-filling breath, oxygenating every cell in your body. Eyes still closed. And in this space, as we pause for a moment and check in, I want you to think about when those challenges come up. Are you feeling equipped? Do you kind of know what to do when a challenge comes up? Do you have a plan of attack in a sense? Or every time a challenge comes up, it can undo you a bit, perhaps unsettle you, make you feel like you don't quite know where your roots are, your feet are, so that you can keep moving forward. It's just checking in. There's no criticism, no judgment, just awareness. And perhaps you're, in fact, facing a challenge today and looking for some real-time support. Each of us, either they're in a challenge, has faced a challenge or an obstacle, or will be. And that will be a cycle that repeats. So today we're going to have a candid conversation to support you. But in this space, as you're just kind of checking in and feeling in where you are regarding obstacles and challenges, what is it that you need? What is it that will support you today, real time, so that you are able to bloom and shine no matter what? What is it that you need? Just feel in and see. And I want to add one more layer to this. It's not only is it what is it that you need, but also are willing to receive. Just kind of feel into that. Sometimes that changes our answer a little bit, what it is that we need and are willing to receive. Beautiful. Receive that information. Come back into the room. Another deep breath. Open up your eyes. Fully present. And I invite you to write down whatever it is that was laid on your heart that you need and are willing to receive, because you have choice in what you receive and what you take in and what you don't. Oh, what is it that you need and are willing to receive? I invite you to write it down, because it's really easy, especially when there are challenges, to forget, to be on the lookout, to get distracted, to forget what it is that you need that may actually be right in front of you. And we can miss it sometimes because we forget and get distracted. So keep that top of mind. Know what it is that you need today and be leaning in and looking for that with great anticipation. And I'm going to invite you to be unattached to the form that answer comes in, the way that it comes. Sometimes we try to feel into the support we need, and it has to be this way, designed this way, in this color, or this shape. And I'm going to invite you to be open to that, not attached to that, not attached to the how, but leaning into what it is that you need and are willing to receive. Let's breathe that in. Because it is not an accident you tuned in today. There is something here for you, and I want you to receive it. So be on the lookout. I'm going to let you know ways to integrate what we're sharing throughout the show, so that hopefully during our time together, you're going to receive some of or part of exactly what it is you need to help you bloom and shine no matter what may come into your life. Beautiful. I'm going to go around our virtual room here and talk with our amazing guest, Sandy, and see what was laid on her heart when we paused for a moment and listened. Sandy, I'd love for you to share.
Well, thank you for asking, Rebecca. And I can't believe you said you tuned in today for a reason. There's something here for you, because something was laid on my heart that I'm absolutely here for a reason today as your guest. Mm-hmm. I have been circling all around it, and what I need every once in a while, and I don't often get, is time alone. I need some time alone. As we go through my story today, you'll see why I have almost no time alone anymore. But lately it's been circling around my head and my heart and my mind that I need some time all by myself to just sit and be with me and think and rest and relax and even be creative. So time alone is what's coming to me, and thank you for helping me realize that.
Oh, you are so welcome, and I celebrate that. It's so easy to not take time for ourselves with life and the to-do list and everything on our plate and everything we love, too, that we lean into. We can forget to have that time. So I celebrate you seeing that, and I hope you find some time today just for you.
Thank you. Me too.
Beautiful. It's interesting. I recharge alone. As much as I love connecting with people and supporting and being out there, I find I have to have some alone quiet time just for me, or I get out of balance. So for many of you out there, kind of checking in on that balance. What is it that you need? So
yes, I agree completely.
Yeah. So what is it that we need to keep us in balance, to help support us when challenges come? And for each of us, there may be some similarities or there may be a completely different answer that you get. But I'm going to encourage you throughout our time together is listen to that inner voice, that wisdom that's being spoken into your heart and spirit. That's sometimes why we slow down a little bit in the beginning of our time together so that you can really sink in and be ready to receive what it is that you need and get clarity in that. And in fact, we're getting ready to go to our first commercial break. And here's how you can dial up the experience. These are actually 2-minute moments just for you. Built in every so often in the show, we have these things called commercial breaks, and they're exactly 2 minutes just for you to pause, breathe, integrate on a cellular level, listen to what's being placed on your heart. And I feel like we can live our life in a purposeful way, one pause and decision at a time. So I'm going to encourage you during these 2 minutes to resist the urge to go cross things off your to-do list, really embrace being still, staying present, and letting what's being spoken into your heart and spirit be heard and received. And with that, we'll look forward to talking to you in 2 minutes.
Voice America Women. Your passion starts here.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That's SpeakerTalentSearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit EmpoweredConnectionsTV.com. That's EmpoweredConnectionsTV.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
If you've always wanted to take the lead in your life, but you don't believe you are a leader, then it's time to change that mindset. Leadership expert Linda Patton will help you discover the powerful leader that lives within and teach you the leadership skills that will transform your business and your life. Stepping into your leadership brings reality to your vision, and leadership can be learned. Find out more on Leadership Stars every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Women's Channel.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit Facebook.com/Voice America.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-866-613-1612. That's 1-866-613-1612. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes and really gave yourself that gift, that opportunity to pause, breathe, and receive what's being spoken into your heart and spirit. Because there is something for you here today in our time together. And it may be something Sandy shares, it might be something I share, or it may be just all of us connecting together what's being spoken into your heart and spirit. So I invite you to really lean into those opportunities to process, breathe, and receive. Now, I promised that when we got back, we would dig into this conversation a bit and really look at how do we keep moving forward no matter what? How do we bloom and shine? And what I want you to hear in this bloom and shining concept, it's not that it's really hard and you have to keep pushing forward all the time and it's really heavy and painful. Blooming and shining actually has beauty into it. It has a grace in it. Shining, this means that we're shining out into the world things that matter to us. So as we go through our conversation today, we're going to be candid about challenges and obstacles. And what I want you to be able to gain from our time together are tools and abilities and mindsets we can have to help us bloom and shine no matter what. Not just overcome and survive, but really thrive and shine. That's what I want you to be looking for and listening for. There will be those moments of survival, but that is not the end of the story. So to remember that, and that we're looking to those moments of blooming and shining, finding that silver lining. Let's breathe that in. Beautiful. Now, you got to hear a little bit from Sandy in the beginning on a heart level as we were connecting in, and I wanted to more formally introduce her so you know some of her background that she is bringing to the world and bringing to us today, and you can always read more in depth about her bio and credentials. You'll find that on our website and in the information that we shared out about the show. But let me introduce Sandy to you. So Sandra Gerouz is an international speaker, trainer, author, and she specializes in turning a workplace into a wow place. And she is absolutely passionate about helping us build deeper relationships and create a culture of respect and value at our workplace and in our lives. Please warmly welcome the amazing Sandra Gerouz to the show. Welcome!
Thank you, Rebecca. Oh, can I take you everywhere with me and introduce me?
I love it.
I love your introduction.
Oh, thank you. We'll bring the WOWplace around the world. I love it. Beautiful.
Me too.
Well, I'm excited to have you on the show today. I've been enjoying our conversations behind the scenes as we've been getting ready for our time together today. And I would love for you to share with our listeners a little bit about why this work that you do, helping people create those cultures within their workspace, creating that wow place. Why is that personally so important to you?
Well, the reason that I do this is I had started out in my early speaking career doing training specifically for real estate professionals, but I have over 20 years of experience in the corporate workplace, and I know the challenges both on the staff level and on the leadership level that occur there. And you know what? Things are not always improving. There are pockets of beauty that we can see, but there are so many places where we spend so much time at work. And many, many people are not enjoying what they do for 40, 50, 60 hours or more a week. And when I saw that, and I started thinking, how can I help this situation? I just started thinking about, what can I share? What have I learned over my life and my time in the corporate environment and throughout my own business as well that I can share with others? So I started doing staff training for administrative professionals. And that's when I also realized that if I do that and I inspire them, I also have to speak to the leadership side, because if the team members want to do something and the leaders won't let them because they're a little bit too afraid of change and things like that, it's not going to work. In fact, there was a time when I was coming in to do a program for an administrative professionals group. A leader met with me for dinner the night before, and she said to me, "Boy, I hope you can motivate these people tomorrow because we can't get them to do anything." And I said, "Whoa, okay, well, I'll do my best. I do a pretty good job with that, and I'll give it my best shot." Well, when I got to the program the next day and I started giving them all these great ideas, guess what I heard from them? They said to me, well, we'd love to do this, but the woman I met with the night before, won't let us do anything different than what we're doing right now. And there is your conundrum. The leaders want people to engage, but they have blind spots about what they're doing that's inhibiting employee engagement and contribution and the success of everyone. So,
and I want to have, and I appreciate you sharing. I want to give us a moment to kind of process, because I heard so many things that you shared that are really great. So one thing I saw was that you observed this gap, this challenge that organizations are having, and we're spending so much time a week in our workplace or in our job, and that's a long time to not be happy where we're at for whatever reason. And to have someone come in, and it sounds like it's on both sides of the fence in a sense. So there are the administrative assistants, those are people that are in different roles, and then you have those that are in a management type of space, and they're both wanting a solution, but there's blind spots and gaps, and that can create a challenge. And listeners, I want you to think about this, whether you are in the workforce and you're in corporate America, or you have your own business, or perhaps you're volunteering and in transition. Think about that. Think about, just for a moment, are there some blind spots that maybe someone has shared with you that we didn't see ourselves, or we kind of keep coming up against this same obstacle and the same challenge? And what I love about what you do, Sandy, with great passion and care, is you help us through those places, through those gaps, through those blind spots, so we can come out on the other side and really regain that passion and excitement for what we're doing. Is that a fair statement?
Thank you. Yes, it is absolutely. And I hear that many times. What I often hear is, you've given us a new perspective, not only on what we're doing ourselves, but also on what the other people on the other side of the equation are feeling and are dealing with. So sometimes we, as administrative professionals, let's say, or staff members, frontline customer service people, you have the people above you, and sometimes it can be a little intimidating. You want to give them your ideas, you want to do new things, but they're the boss, and you don't want to either contradict them or make them feel badly or make them think that you're trying to take over the world, never mind their jobs. But then on the other side, you're a leader and you don't understand the things that you're doing that are holding the people down and not allowing them to contribute, like by simply not asking for their input. So many times leaders want the ideas, but the people don't know how to give them the ideas that they have because there's no forum for sharing and they're not comfortable. So one of my WOWplace rules is to make the WOWplace safe for people to contribute and engage and share their ideas.
Beautiful. And even celebrate them, I would think, versus shutting them down. Beautiful. Love it, love it, love it. Now, as we're talking about this and we're looking at kind of both sides of the equation here, there's a cultural thing that we can be dealing with, but I also think there are some mindset things that when we're looking at a challenge or we're looking at a gap or an obstacle or something unexpected that comes up, what are your suggestions on how we start to approach that?
Well, one of the ways that I always approach things is, first of all, just know. Challenges and obstacles are never going to be behind us. They are always going to come up in our lives. So if we're prepared for the fact that anything can come up and happen at any moment, then we can at least stop being blindsided by the fact that they happen. Now, we can always be surprised by what happens, but if we're not surprised that something's going to happen, that eliminates one thing. And I always try to think about when the obstacle happens, very often it feels like, oh man, this is the worst possible thing that could happen in my life. Why in the world does this happen? And it's very tempting to fall into bemoaning our fate and why did this happen? But that doesn't solve anything. We can either sit there and we can rail at the world and rail at the things that are happening, or we can deal with them and move on in a positive way. So if we're flexible and adaptable, and one thing that helps me when an obstacle comes up is I try to always think about two things. What is this trying to teach me that I didn't know before? And number two, what can I be grateful for even though this is happening? Like one of the things I was talking about is I don't get very much time alone, and that's I'm married, I love my husband, but we also have my 86 and 87-year-old parents living with us. And their medical conditions are making it more and more difficult for me to leave and do things. I have to leave when I travel, but when I'm home, it's 24/7. My mom's fallen 3 times in the last week, and it's always troublesome. But I try to just be grateful for the fact that we can do this for them, and my husband is an angel who lets me do this for them in our home.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing, because I really, on several levels here, I think it's very true. We can rail at the world. We can, why did this happen? And we can even get caught into the victim. Why did it happen to me? And how wrong it is, and all these things, instead of looking for a solution, looking for the positive, looking for what to be thankful for so that we can move forward. It's almost like we're looking back or stuck versus looking ahead at what is to come, the way through, and what is there to support us in the journey. And I love how even in your situation, how you shared on a real practical level. I mean, your husband's there with you, and that you get to do this for them. And I think that's really beautiful and powerful, and it coexists with the same need to have some space and alone time as well. That those things aren't mutually exclusive, but they are.
That's right. We have to admit that we're all human. You know, we all have these conflicting feelings all the time. I love my parents, and I am so blessed that I'm in a position to be able to help take care of them now when they need me. I mean, they raised us for how many years, and now it's up to us to help them through their final years. And I look ahead with trepidation to the time they're not going to be there, at the same time as I'm sitting there saying, oh my goodness, how many times are you going to forget your walker in that room and not use it? So you've fallen 3 times, so you have to keep your walker with you. And I'm chastising my mom while I'm still saying, oh, please, Lord, just keep giving me patience, because I love her, and I know how difficult it must be for her to have to go through this as well. That's the other thing. I just try to think of what is it like for the other person, you know, not just what's happening to me and how it inconveniences me every once in a while. How would I feel if I couldn't drive anymore? I couldn't even walk without a walker anymore. I couldn't even get up out of bed or take a shower by myself at times. I just can't even imagine that. So I think empathy is a huge, huge piece of this, that you just think about not just you and what's happening to you, it's happening to someone else as well, and try to understand their viewpoint.
Beautiful. And listeners, and I love what you're saying, Sandy, because it's expanding that view, honoring and recognizing how it affects us, but it's not just us in the equation. And really, you know, expanding that view. And I think that's critical for communication, for creating wow spaces, as well as in our wow lives, that we are really looking at all of those things and letting them coexist together, and looking and choosing how we want to be in the challenging situation and going forward. Like, we can choose who we are choosing to be in it, and as we go through it. And listeners, as we get ready to go to our next commercial break, I want you just to take these next 2 minutes, pause, breathe, and receive, and just see what's being spoken into your heart and spirit. Perhaps you can relate to some of what we're talking about. Maybe you're exactly dealing with some of the things that we talked about. And what are some of the ways that you can honor who you are, how you are in this, have it coexist with what you need, and having empathy and looking at the other's perspective as well. So I give you these next 2 minutes just for you to pause, breathe, and just explore those things. We'll look forward to talking to you in just 2 minutes.
This is the Voice America Women's Channel, where your success is limitless.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Relationship issues? Anxious? Parenting challenges? No more. Learn to live your best life. Tune into Straight Talk with top therapist, relationship, and anxiety expert Sandra Gerouz. Learn to transform your challenges into effective solutions. Whether it's relationships, parenting, anxiety, or other traps, Sandra will show you how you can live the life of your dreams. Listen live every Thursday afternoon at 6 p.m. Eastern Time and 3 p.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel.
Have you had a chance to check out Voice America's online magazine and blog, Press Pass? If you love our hosts and shows, check out articles that give an even deeper perspective. Plus topics about health and fitness, movie reviews, philosophy, business tips and tactics, spirituality, positive thought, current events, and even more about your favorite host. It's just a click away at vapresspass.com. That's vapresspass.com. VA Press Pass by Voice America. All access, all the time.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation. Follow us on Twitter at VoiceAmericaTRN. Get the lowdown on guests, new shows, and your favorites. That's VoiceAmericaTRN.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-866-613-1612. That's 1-866-613-1612. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes and really gave yourself the opportunity to be still, to receive, to think about some of these things that perhaps you're relating to what we're talking about. You're dealing with some of these challenges right now as we speak, or you know somebody that is. And I want to encourage you in a few areas around this. One, you're not alone. And it is absolutely okay to get support. And I, in fact, encourage you to do that, whatever that support may be. I had we've all had different challenges in our life. And I remember there was one time I was just identifying with you, Sandy, in this caregiving role. It was right after we were newly married, my husband and I, and about 6 months in, he was in a horrible accident on his motorcycle, drug 40 yards, ended up under a vehicle, and lived to tell the tale, and ended up coming home. Everything was twisted and torn and sprained and scraped, and he had a long recovery. And I was suddenly newly married, trying to figure out where we start and stop. And now that we're a we, and had to chose to step into this caregiving role. And it was so scary for me at times because I didn't know if he would fully recover or not. What does this mean? And one of the biggest mistakes I made was I didn't ask for help. I didn't even know how to verbalize it, and I think I was a little afraid to make it more real. And ended up so cranky one morning, I was putting Cover Up, that makeup, and it wasn't doing its job. You could still see the tiredness under my eyes, this whole thing, and I got really, and I tend to be a pretty positive, happy person, and I remember getting angry and feeling that heat rise, and I looked at this makeup applicator, and I'm like, you're not even doing your job, and I threw it in the sink. And it dawned on me at that moment, I needed a timeout. So I took it. So I just, as you were sharing some of, the walker and all of these things that we're dealing with, and recognizing the time and we need that timeout, or allowing people to come alongside us. And that's one thing. If I were to go back in time, I would have reached out. I would have taken a little bit more time for me too. And I think it would have been an easier process than it was. So just wanted to let you know I completely identified with that. And listeners, wherever you may be, just remember you're not alone, and you give yourselves time out, and you can reach out and get support. And with that, Sandy, I wanted to bring you back into the conversation, kind of hand the floor over to you, and have you share some tips, some ways that we can really approach challenges and obstacles that are coming our way, whether we are now in that caregiving role and that's new for us, or we have that equation we're trying to make work at work, and whatever the challenge may be that we're dealing with, I'd love for you to give us some tips and ideas.
Okay. Well, one thing that I always tell people, and this really works whether we're at home or we're at work, is when something happens, later on we can always find something funny about what happened, but it's very difficult to find it in the situation. But I want you to just look for the humor all around you. I really believe that my husband and I, we've been married now, last December it was 35 years. And I attribute a big portion of that to the fact that we, over the years, have gotten into the habit of responding with humor, not with anger when something happens. For example, if he will say to me something like, well, that, you're not making sense, basically he doesn't say it that way all the time, but he'll say, well, how about this or this or this, and I'll realize I'm not making sense. And instead of getting angry at him for pointing out that I'm not making sense or not being logical, I will just stop and I'll say, you know how I hate it when you get logical on me, don't you? And then we both can laugh, and we stop, and it doesn't escalate into anything negative because I'm not faulting him. It's so easy to find fault with the other person when we want to deflect that stupidity or guilt or whatever it is away from us that we're just engaging in. And we're like, well, don't even talk to me about that. And then we get angry. But he and I have developed this wonderful habit of responding with humor all the time. In fact, there are times now when I'll have to say to him, would you please just be serious for a moment? And then we'll have a serious conversation. But try to find the humor all around you. It's everywhere.
Beautiful. I love that. Listeners, just remember, stop, pause, breathe, and find something that makes you smile. I love that. And talk about shifting even chemically what's going on inside of us, so things aren't escalating and becoming harder, but being able to laugh or find humor or something that makes us smile. Beautiful. I love that. You have more tips and suggestions. I wrote that down.
Oh, good. I love it. I love it. And here's the thing. Not only when you take a humor break, you give yourself a little break with humor, but you can give other people these little humor breaks all throughout the day. Milton Berle had a wonderful saying that laughter is an instant vacation. And he's an old-time comic, if any of you remember that, or are old enough to remember Milton Berle. But laughter is an instant vacation. And isn't it true, when you have a laugh with someone, don't you feel like you've been away even for just 3 seconds, 5 seconds? So I keep a humor file at work. Things that make me smile or make me laugh, little videos, cartoons, photos. I also, I just remember, oh man, I have to share this with you. It's so funny.
Sure.
I come from Rhode Island, okay? Rhode Island, Massachusetts area. And in East Providence, Rhode Island, there is a cemetery called the Gates of Heaven. Now, some of my relatives are actually buried there. But the funny thing about this is they have this beautiful, gorgeous sign, the Gates of Heaven, and right below it, they used to have another sign that said, gates close at 4:30 p.m. So it's like, oh my goodness. So if you don't pass by 4:30, well, I guess you're not getting into the Gates of Heaven. They had to have taken so much heat for that because they took that second sign down, but I have never, ever in my life forgotten it. And I just go back to those funny things, and I share them, and I think about them, and I give other people little laughter vacations throughout the day. That's a great way to diffuse tension at work, too.
I love it. So everyone, I want to encourage you to look for that moment. Look for something to make you smile, or go back in your mind, in a memory, to a snapshot or a picture or something that just made you laugh, tickled your funny bone, and give yourself that mini vacation. What a beautiful share. I love that. I was thinking, one of the things my husband and I say is, when one of us, perhaps, I like how you're saying, is maybe not being logical or whatever, we're not being who we normally would like to be in our happy, balanced space, right? We'll look at each other. We'll tilt our head like we're really confused, and we'll go, who are you? I love it. See, we all have our little non-verbal or verbal things, too, that we can do. We can give people little signs that will let them know, I need a break, come rescue me, or something else. You know, we all had that little, the escape call on the blind date and things like that. Yeah. So you can have your escape call with your best friend at work who knows you well, and when they see you reaching the breaking point, they can come and give you a little break or rescue you from that situation, and you can do that for others. You can even do it for your boss. Yes. So I love that. And just think about if we became that person who lifted others up in those moments, that diffuse them, we're able to bring a lightness and perhaps help things not escalate when we're not at our shiny moment. That helps others stay more in their shiny place where they're really blooming and bringing out what matters to them. And it gives each of you the opportunity to do that as well. Oh, we're getting ready to go to our next commercial break. The time goes so fast. Right now I have a smile on my face. I hope you can hear that as we're connecting. And I want to encourage you to take these next 2 minutes and write down a couple of things that you want to add to that file. That laughter file, or something that you want to bring into your life that is your go-to when there's a challenge, something that can shift your energy, bring a smile to your face, and help you be more of who you want to be and choose to be, kind of empower you in that way. And with that, we'll look forward to talking to you in just 2 minutes.
The Voice America Women's Channel.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com, and make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That's SpeakerTalentSearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
We're making it easier to listen to the Voice America Talk Radio Network wherever you go. In addition to listening live, you can check out information about your favorite talk show hosts, discover new talk show personalities, add shows to your list of favorites, and listen to all our show archives on demand. All from your iPhone, BlackBerry, or Android. Download it from the Apple App Store, BlackBerry App World, or Android Market, and get ready to tune in. The Voice America mobile app, powered by Aircast.
The Voice America Women's Channel.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-866-613-1612. That's 1-866-613-1612. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes and found something that made you smile that you could add to your laughter break or your smile file to support you throughout the day or when those challenges come up, because it's a win kind of thing. And if we can have some tools to go to, some things to support us, it can help us really be who we want to be and how we want to be in our life, even when challenges come. And sometimes having those things that we can stop, pause, breathe, make sure we're staying balanced, and find some things to smile about can really help us. And behind the scenes, Sandy and I were talking, and she was sharing a little bit about new opportunities. And so I just wanted to have you share what you shared with me and expand on a little bit for our listeners today, because we've been talking about challenges, but I think it's also important to talk about opportunities too.
Right. I think that we put blinders on very often, and a new opportunity will come our way, and just because it's new or it's different, or people are saying, well, you can't do that, nobody ever does that, or everybody's doing that, so you shouldn't. You know what? Keep your eyes and ears open for every opportunity, and when you see one, don't fall back on those lame excuses that nobody else does that. When I was in real estate, I became a top producing realtor after just a couple of years, and I loved it. But what I always did when I saw an opportunity and someone was trying to tell me no, I flipped it. For example, we've been talking very strategically. Let's talk tactically now. Here's a real tactical thing I did to help bring my business to top producer level. If I saw somebody saying, don't do that, everybody does that, I flipped it. So, for example, I wanted to do what they call geographic farming, to be able to send postcards to a certain geographic area and establish myself. And people said, don't go in there. You know, that's Riverside, Rhode Island. Mr. Riverside is in there, so you can't get in there. And I said, wait a minute. I analyzed it. Mr. Riverside only had about 40% of the market. I said, that leaves 60% open that's just available to whoever wants to take it. So I made a concerted effort to go after the other 60%, and guess what? Within a year and a half, Mr. Riverside had a spouse. I was Mrs. Riverside. And so, you know what? Don't let people stop you with those kind of crazy things. If everybody's doing something one way, try it another way. If they're telling you you can't because no one does that, well, maybe it's time somebody did. So keep your eyes and ears open for opportunities and never shut them down.
I love that underlined explanation point. Never shut them down. And I was smiling as you were sharing about that, because when I hear people say, no one's done that before, you can't do that, I hear, I'm the first one here. Opportunity. Market's wide open. I get to lead that and become that. So I just want to underline that we can embrace those opportunities. And when we were talking behind the scenes, I was asking you about Anne of Green Gables, which is a show series and a movie series and a book series that I enjoyed a lot of years growing up, and even to this day I enjoy watching it. And it's the story of a young girl who was orphaned and then kind of brought into the world, and her path and her journey. in that. And one of the things she said, because she was very prone to making mistakes and having to make amends again and again. And one of the phrases she said, well, tomorrow's a brand new day with no mistakes in it. And I love that.
Oh, my gosh. I love it.
That every day we can start again. We can't go back in time. We can't redo or undo things. But by golly, we can go forward and we can choose how we're going to be and who we're going to be in that no matter what. And I want to encourage you to look at some of the things we've shared today in practical and profound ways that you can start to bring into your life, some mindsets, some ways to explore how you can step forward with excitement. And guess what? Mistakes are okay too, because guess what? There's tomorrow again. And you can start moving forward and try it another way and take that breath and bring that laughter with you. And Sandy, I'd just love to give you an opportunity if there was anything else on your heart that you wanted to share with our listeners today. I've so enjoyed our conversation.
Oh, thank you. I have too. And I just want to say that whenever you think that you might want to doubt yourself, remember that we always undervalue ourselves. But if you push forward, if you just really think about what the good is that you can do, not only for yourself, but the example you can provide for the world that it is actually possible. We need to encourage each other. We need to provide examples for each other as women, as men and women, and as just human beings. If we can just help each other by providing an example that it is possible to continue to make mistakes and have a new day every day and move forward, then we're doing good in the world. And I just want to thank you for allowing me to be part of this journey with you so that we can provide those examples for each other.
Beautiful. I love that. And that it does matter, and people are watching, and how we show up, and that we can rise again when we fall makes a difference, that we can laugh. I was thinking about one time I was on stage, and it was one of these audiences and opportunities where there were over 100 people, and they were like my people, that we were in sync, heartbeat to heartbeat, breath to breath. We were lining up. It was just a magical time of connection and presentation. And as I was coming to the end of the presentation, I'm in this elegant ball gown, beautiful, sparkly high heels, a little short stage. I raise my hand up, and we're making the commitment to bloom where we're planted. And just before I got the word shine out, I stepped off the stage into the air and landed in the sound equipment.
Oh!
And there was this horrified gasp, and we all leaned in, and I'm a little bit shocked and getting up and kind of has everything there, and okay, I can stand. And I had talked earlier about how when we make a mistake or there's a challenge or something, to remind ourselves of our beauty and remind ourselves that we see something powerful in you regardless, and even in that moment. And the phrase that we use to say that is, "You are so beautiful." And running through my mind, I'm like, I'm so glad I shared that with them in the beginning. And I raised my hand because I've got to end the presentation, right? And they're all staring. I get up, I had a flower pen, and I go, and what am I? And they go, "So beautiful," a little bit horrified. And then they kind of brought the presentation to a close. And one of the things that happened from that is that so many people connected with me on a human level. And perhaps that's what the audience needed more than the beautiful words and elegance, was a time of humanness and connection and caring. And I had so many deep conversations following that, and so many people that remember that moment, but not in a mocking kind of way, but in a human identifying way, and that you got up and you can stand again, and it doesn't matter. It didn't take away from your message. And so I think sometimes we are afraid to share the journey and all of the elements in it, but just know, even when we fall, even when we make a mistake, it still serves. And sometimes people need to know you can stand again and still shine, even when we have a misstep. So as you go back out into the world, I want you to remember that We are with you, celebrating, supporting you, cheering you on, and whatever obstacles or challenges may come, I want to encourage you to lean into having that laughter file, having a way to support you. Be willing to look for those new opportunities, stretch forth, share the gift of who you are, and always choose to bloom where you're planted and shine. Have an amazing week, everyone. We'll talk to you next time.
Thank you for joining us this week for Empowering Women, Transforming Lives. Please tune in again for another edition with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter, next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific on the Voice America Women's Channel. And join us for a replay of the show every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific on the Voice America Empowerment Channel. Have a beautiful week, and may you always bloom where you're planted and shine.